Hi guys, this is Tina with Rehatch Designs, and I am wanting to start a series about junk journaling on the cheap. And the main reason that I've decided to do that is I am going to have a little talk with all of you today, a PSA per se, about mental health and junk journaling. And the reason I'm doing that is today there was a lot of talk or chatting on social media on a site about junk journaling, and there were several women that talked about how junk journaling really helped them get through some tough times. And, although it did do that, several were talking about how they feel guilty spending the time, or the money on craft supplies and that type of thing. And first of all, let me say that you don't have to spend a lot of money to junk journal. You do not. If people are doing that, then that's fine, but it's not necessary. It's totally, completely not necessary. You don't have to have what you see other people having. You don't have to buy expensive paper. You don't have to buy the latest and greatest digital. You don't have to buy the expensive dyes, the glues, the whatever to junk journal. You do not. And in fact, I actually think the less you have, the more creative you will be, because you have to. And that is something that really hit me about how many people talked about how they felt guilty about the money they spend, etc. Now the time, I'm just going to talk about that. First of all, to me, junk journaling is a form of creative expression, and if you're a creative person, you need some form of creative expression, and I think you need it every day, every single day. Even if it's 30 minutes, you need that. Just like you need exercise, and just like you need to eat right, just like you need to drink water. You really need it. And that is something that you should never feel guilty about. And if you spend the time and nurture yourself, you will be a better person. I went through a really rough time last year, and not anything earth-shattering that happened, but I kind of went through empty nest syndrome. My youngest graduated, moved out of the state. I had retired from my job. I had been active in a board for a while. Things got kind of political, so I got out of that. And I really was stuck going, well, gosh, what am I going to do? And I've always been a creative person. I've always been into crafting and that type of thing, but there wasn't anything that really, just that grabbed me at the time that I really was interested in. Well, I turned on YouTube, and I'll have to admit I was watching a lot of TV during that time, and all of a sudden I saw junk journaling, and it just spoke to me. It just spoke to me. Although I have to say, I was like, well, what do you do with a junk journal? Okay. And that's another thing that people were talking about. I feel guilty for making junk journals because I don't know what to do with them. I've made several of them, and I don't know what to do with them. Well, first of all, I don't think you have to do anything with them. I mean, if you want to just make them and make them and make them, and you don't do anything with them but put them on a shelf, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Honestly, don't. That's your art. That is your creative outlet. It doesn't have to serve a purpose. It's no different than putting a painting on your wall. I mean, it's the same thing. It's your art. Now, I believe it can very easily be art with a purpose. I think that's the reason why I got this book out. And if you're in junk journaling, you've either already heard of this or you're definitely going to. And it's called Edith Holland, The Nature Notes of an Edwardian Lady. And she has other books out too. But basically, what she did is she journaled and also did these beautiful paintings, sketching and, painting what she saw. So she did her own form of journaling. And I think junk journal, it gives a bad kind of vibe to what we're doing. What you're doing is you're creating art that you can journal in. And that's what made me think of this. Is there really a difference? There really isn't. There is not a difference. There's not a difference. You're creating art and you can journal in those pages also. That's huge. That serves a purpose. Now, if for some reason you want to share your art, that's great too. And if you have people willing to buy it, that's great. But I don't think you should feel guilty if you're making these journals and they're making you feel good and you're wanting to do more, but you're hesitating because you already have a drawer full. You know what? So what? I mean, ask anybody who's been a painter. They have stacks and stacks of paintings that they haven't sold or they're not going to sell, or they love too much and they can't sell. So what? So what? Now, if your junk journals, can help other people and lift their spirits, or maybe, sharing them with them makes them want to also learn how to do junk journaling, then you know what? Share your gift. Show them, what you know. And that's really why I'm doing this. That's why I'm head of a crafting group in our community. I do it for no other reason other than, I want to share what I can, and I'm certainly not an expert on anything, but I want to share and help when I can, and I really feel like it's a way to uplift others and to help others, and it's just something that I feel strongly that does help. So anyway, don't feel guilty about it, and I'm going to help you not feel guilty about it as far as the cost, because my series starting tomorrow is going to be about junk journaling on the cheap. I'm going to start with covers and I'm going to work all the way through it. I'm not sure what order it's going to be in, but we're going to bring up lots of ways that you can do it and have a beautiful journal and not spend much money at all. I'm not going to say free, because it's not going to be free, but it will be very inexpensive and it'll be beautiful. Anyway, thank you, and I appreciate you spending the time listening to me, and I promise tomorrow will be all about junk journaling. Thank you very much.